Welcome back. I'm Kim Bailey. She's Fulyana Osborne, and this is Inside Exec. Today we're going to explore what it's like on both sides of the fence for the first corporate job.
Right, so we've been for an interview. We wanted to hire someone, so I'll start with a corporate hat. Hire someone, we went through, we spent a lot of time, effort and money sourcing the right person. We've got the right person. They're coming through the door next week. So what's our responsibility? How is that experience important? How should we make them feel when they get here? What preparation should we do? Firstly, I think that will start before they come, communicating the fantastic news, but also what is going to happen when you arrive, what time to arrive, where to go, where to see, who to see, etc. That is only a touch of it. Now, you've all been involved in either something called onboarding, orientation and induction and all of that processes. Some organizations have them, some organizations don't. Some do them, but it's a ticker box, and some really put a lot of effort in. Why is it important for an organization to take absolute care with this? Firstly, it costs you money to hire and replace. Two, it's about retention and your reputation again, so you don't want to do that. And thirdly, you think about when you started working and how that felt and how would it feel better, how would you make it easier. Having said that, now looking at the individual, I say you might be your very first corporate role, or it might be your first role in this corporation or small team, whatever it is. Do not come expecting that everything is going to just fall in place and you're a passive recipient of this because you're the chosen one. You prepare how you're going to engage and what plan. In other words, do your own planning of onboarding and induction. Whether they have it or not, prepare in your mind. These days now, I can reflect on at least 10 different programs that I experienced over the years, and they all have very strong points, and some, can be done better. However, the times have changed, and you can even have an app. You can download an app that tells you about onboarding and to self-manage or as an organization to use. I don't want to go into that. I want to go into...
No, it's technology. You don't want to go into that, no.
No, I want to go into the purpose and how to use the once-off opportunity. Why I say it's one-off is because this is you starting in the organization. You're not going to start twice. You're starting in the workforce, and that's always once. So what do you do? And the thing is, forgetting the technical, and you can learn so much from you have already know about the organization because you got the job, you went for interviews, so there's a lot there. But once you're there, look at the mechanical things, if you look, structural things. Have you got access, computer access? Have you got all of this? What's the compliance you have to learn beforehand? All the intranet stuff that is available to teach you. And they're all really important and must-haves. But for me, the key success factor is going to meet people. And going to meet people that you are in the immediate area you're working with, whether it is the management team, if you're a manager yourself, or you have peers. Even if you don't have people working for you, you have peers. And the department you're working in, or that part of the organization you're working in, how does it interact with other areas, and how you go and meet those people. Because you're new, you just suss out what's best for creating a timetable and meeting those people to get to know them. They are going to be your success factor because they're your network. They're going to be the people that you get to know how they like to work. So if you're either receiving services from them or you're providing services to them, then, or they might be that point of contact with the external customer, then you get to know the people. And you take the trouble of tailoring your approach to meet that and understanding if what you do, how it affects them, and what are the key success factors for them. When I say people, I mean across the board. And that can be within country, it could be out of country as well, it could be, so just think people in the broadest sense.
What occurs to me in all of that is that from both sides of the table, you need to ensure that that first contact, that first impression that is made, is the one that you want to be the lasting one, because there will be a judgment made in the first 90 seconds, both sides, on the first day. You need to ensure, if you're the one going in for the job, that you start the way you want to continue. So don't go in there all dressed up if you're not going to do that every day, and if it's not you. You've been chosen for a particular reason, and if you were dressed appropriately at the interview, which we talked about in a different podcast, then the organisation is not expecting anything different of you. So don't be different on the first day. Be the way that you are going to continue to be, and be genuine, because that's what you'll need to get you through this first few weeks of activity. From the organisation's point of view, the organisation needs to be the way it is going to be. When the new person comes in, that they have someone who meets them at the front door, that they don't have to go to the front desk and say, oh, I'm here to start work today, I'm supposed to see, and you look at your letter and see who it is. Now, I know that it's daunting the first time you do it, and certainly after a few years of experience, you'll know that you can just walk up and you'll have the self-confidence and the knowledge and the experience to be able to do those things. But first time around, it is hard. You're moving from, in a lot of cases, you're moving from the protected environment of university or school or wherever it is, and you're coming into a whole new culture, a whole new way of being. So you need someone to hold your hand to go through that. Or you don't need someone, but it is better for the organisation and for you if there's someone there. So as an organisation, I would encourage you to have the person who is going to have the most interaction with the new person be the one who meets them. Because they need to have that contact. They need to have, initially it's their first mentor, and you need to
Some
start.
of them call it buddy system. It can be either.
So have the buddy system. Whatever it is, whatever works for your organisation, put that in place, because it's going to pay you back.
Yes.
In ways that you couldn't possibly imagine.
A lot of organisations put a lot of effort in doing this, and also how to understand within the area you're working in. There's different programs, and some of them called accelerated graduates and all of that, the ones that you're going to make the future executives very quickly. The thing that there's so many good things about it, but one that I love is the fact that they get to work in all parts of the organisation, regardless to what their wish is at the end, where they want to end up, say finance, human resources, sales, whatever. But they work in, and there's a program that get them through that. Okay, that's a special program, it's a big investment. I think if I was starting again or recruiting, I would do that at a much smaller scale for myself or for anybody I'm hiring. Is it doable? Yes, it is, providing that you're willing to put the effort in and time and work with your manager. So I'm the newbie, so I go and make myself take advantage of whatever the organisation has, and then say, okay, well, I've done all of this is great. Now, would it be all right if I put a program together that allow me time to work in different areas, or be an observer in different areas to learn, if I manage that myself without it interfering in my hours? So, for example, you might say as a self-learning exercise, well, we spend a lot of time doing degrees, masters, etc., and that takes a lot longer. So if I said, oh, I'm going to spend an extra 3 hours a week across the week to do it, then work with different areas of the organisation. So I've got my manager's approval, this is what I like to do, who would be the best person in your area for me to buddy with or observe or whatever. So I really think that would be something is doable, and it doesn't take much time. The other bit that I always liked, it's a bit harder to do now because it's a call centre exposure. Anybody that's new, we got them to spend some time at the call centre, And at the call center, they were just listening in. They didn't do anything. They just learned directly what the customers are saying and how we handle it. And in some cases, the compliments, and in some cases, the complaints. Now, a lot of those call centers are offshore, but having said that, it doesn't mean you can't do it. Before, we used to sit next to someone and put an earpiece in our ear. Now, nearly everything is recorded. See if you can get a sample of that record, obviously with sign-offs and approvals on the compliance side, and listen to it to get closer to that customer without being there. So try to understand the organisation end to end, the purpose of the organisation, what each part of it importance is, what effect or benefit it has on each other, and this way not only it make your work more meaningful and you know exactly how it fits in, but it also for the future it gives you ideas of what you have, the network you made in preparing, and in then saying, well, you know what, I really would like to apply for a job after I've done this and done it and did it well for whatever, 12 months, 2 years, whatever is right for that job. I do want to apply for a job in that area when the opportunity arises.
That's a lot on the actual work side of things. When I think back to when I first started, the first couple of jobs that I had, the thing that I found the most reassuring and did me the most favours in a very personal sense, in a very immediate sense, was that I had a little kit that I took with me that was my I will be productive from day one kit. That was basic stuff, so I didn't have to ask people where the staplers were, where the coffee mugs were, the scissors, all of the things that you might need that you don't want to have to ask someone for the mundane basic stuff as the first interaction that you have with people. So if there's an opportunity for you to do that, put a little kit together for yourself so that you've always got something that... And the other benefit of that is that you have things that are yours around you, and so it settles you, it puts you into place better. The other thing that you can do along those lines, of course, if you're in the organisation, from the organisational point of view, is you have a pack that is the starter kit. Here's your starter kit. It's something that you can give them. It's a nice thing to be able to do on someone's first day. It's good for the person giving it, it's good for the person receiving it, and in that you have the basics that sets up their desk, so that if they need the access to their system, then their password and their login and all of those sorts of things are on a little card that's in there. The details of where the toilets are, where just the mud map of the locality, so that you might have people who've never been in this geographic environment before and need to know things about where stuff is. Those sorts of things can work wonders with both sides of the table.
The other thing is we start a new job and we're very excited because we've done a lot of thinking beforehand. We got through the interview, we have ideas, and we know that at the interview and in preparation we said, what's the critical things that are happening in the organisation where I'm going to be working at present, and I'll give you the top 3, and you think, oh wow, I can do this and this and this. That's fantastic, and never ever lose that. Don't try to do it all in day one. And I think a lot of people are at your first meeting, trying to impress, and then you sort of got nothing. But at the end of the week, you gave all your ideas, and now they either made it or didn't make it. It doesn't matter. Why I'm saying that is not to just keep things up your sleeve. It's that because then once you get to know the organisation from the inside, you can tailor it better. And it's a combined what you learn about the organisation, what they've tried and what you brought with you, because there's always 2 bits. And that is, you're here because you've got something to give and offer the organisation, and vice versa. So take your time so that you can even give more and more innovative ideas than you would if you just came in and say, here's my bag of tricks and I've got 20 solutions and here they are.
So an extension of that is thinking about, we've asked you as starting the job to be positive. We've asked the person that you're going to be working with most often to be positive and represent the organisation well. What do we do for the team that you're joining who has another new person? In some cases it'll be, someone new, and we're going to have to go through all this again, and they'll have all this and they'll be like this, and Can't they just come in and do their job and not disturb me? So what do we do for the team to ensure that they are as positive about a new person and a new starting person, not just a new person who might come with all sorts of other experience, but someone who's starting out, it's like we've got the new kid in the class again. What do we do?
I think definitely rotate the buddy system, and it's not a job, it's an honour. So you've got to sell it that the benefit of that is how you're going to nurture your own experience as managing others, and manage is loosely speaking, in saying, how do I help others? This is where you get to demonstrate teamwork. This is where you can demonstrate that you're doing this because it is a teamy thing to do, and it's not always the same person. Even if some people love to do it all the time and some don't want to do it, I would definitely rotate it, because you will get as much out of it as you are giving that new starter.
It also tests your commitment to an organisation.
Yes.
Because I can talk about it in terms of the not-for-profit groups that I work with. We are finding that the retention rate of members is far stronger if they are teamed up with someone from the start, whether it's the person that introduced them to the organisation or not. But if we can align them with someone, skill levels for one group is a thing that works well, less skill with more skill. The synergy that happens and the ongoing positive response, and then that spreads, and the enthusiasm spreads, and then they bring in someone new, and so we get this sort of 3 or 4 tiered structure of introducing people, and you manage it well enough, you don't get cliques, you just get groups of people who are enthused and who know others a little better than they know the rest of the group.
The other big benefit, of course, is keep seeing things from fresh eyes. You've been there a while, whether it's 12 months or 5 years, and then you're now talking to someone who just walked in. And again, to see that, it makes you think about new things, and it makes you think about things that you took for granted. I remember...
And things that are falling by the wayside, things that they might notice that you haven't noticed.
That's right. Well, but also nowadays everybody got a solution for this. But I remember when I first worked in one organisation, I had to hit the ground running, and I was going from meeting to meeting to meeting. And I wrote nearly 3 pages of, list-wise, of acronyms that I didn't know what they meant, and company jargon. And I thought, it's okay, I'll get the context of it, but I need to understand it. And I know over time, or somebody says, we already started a document on that, go on the intranet and you'll find it alphabetical, but if you've got some more, we'll add it on, and then we just kept building on it. Things like that is, again, everybody knows what they're talking about. You're sitting there and you don't want to keep interrupting, going, what does that mean? What does that? What's that? So you just write it, and then you need someone to either ask or be directed where to go to find.
And I think we did talk in a separate podcast about your business language and not using your shorthand and not using your business speak necessarily, that it wasn't always the case that everyone, even in the organisation, might understand it. So that's another thing to be wary of, particularly if someone's starting out new. And it's not a thing to be waved at them saying, don't you understand it yet? It's not a rite of passage. And I guess that's probably the one thing that we haven't talked about, haven't touched on, is that there is still, I know, in many organisations, a feeling that new people have to have their rite of passage. They have to have their experience. They have to have these things go wrong. They have to be sent out to buy the spotted paint, whatever it is.
No, absolutely not.
And that just doesn't give you any return.
It doesn't. And that's why if you, as a manager, a team member, whatever it is, if you make it your goal to make that first day, week, month a good experience for a new starter, that would be a great thing. And if then as a new starter, you come in with lots of resilience of saying, no matter what, I'm going to turn it into a great experience because I really want to work here. I want this job because I fought for it, and I'm going to make it a happy environment for me as well. So if everybody comes in with that attitude, you'll find a way.
All right, we might leave it on a positive note. That's our spin on starting your first corporate job from both sides of the table. I'm Kim Bailey, she's Fulyana Osborne, and this is Inside Exec.